Interviews are competitions, but most job seekers, we don't take them as such. Job interview is one of the most critical process of every job search. I interview people every other day. And as an interviewer, I see people walk into interview rooms in a way that make me feel pained, literally. Hi there, I'm glad to have you back for another episode of Careers with Nelly. It's always good to have you on this channel. Watch my videos, comment, share these videos, just engage and be part of this community. So if you're here for the first time, my name is Nelly. I am a HR consultant. I am a career coach. And in this channel, I share content on job search strategies. I have workplace conversations. I share content on career development. And of course, my vision or my purpose for creating this content or having these conversations is to help you professionals build rewarding and fulfilling careers. If you've been following me for some time, you know the type of content that I share. You know, I'm very passionate about job seekers. I'm very passionate about professionals. If you're in the age of 30 to 45, I relate with most of the problems that you're facing. So that's why I share this knowledge across my social media platforms, just to build a community where you can find a place, you can find someone who relates with the challenges that you're facing as you navigate through your career and help you build a rewarding and a very successful career. So today's conversation, we want to talk about job interviews and why I was actually motivated to do this video, to have a conversation about job interviews, guys. It's because I interview people every other day. And as an interviewer rather, I see people walk into interview rooms in a way that make me feel pained, literally. Why? Because interviews are competitions, but most job seekers, we don't take them as such. So today's conversation, I want to share with you 7 strategies that you always need to put into practice. You must always consider every time you're going for a job interview so that you ensure that you pass any job interviews. Because job interview is one of the most critical process of every job search. Unless otherwise, very few people land opportunities without going through interviews, by the way. Yes, I know that people who get jobs without going through interviews. I know and acknowledge that fact, but very few. It's maybe like the 1% of job seekers. The bigger percentage, the 99%, people, you have to go through interviews. And this is the point where a decision is being made. So there's no need of going through this process, through the entire job search process, making applications, being called, or rather getting interviews, but you don't pass through. So this video is just to share with you some things that you should never ignore, because they actually make a decision on whether or not you're going to make it through that job interview. So if this is a conversation that you want to learn, if you're currently in that phase, either looking for a new job, you're currently jobless, or you are in a job but you're through that transition period where you're saying, you know what, before the end of the year 2025, or this time in October, as at the time I'm doing this video, I want to land a job, then please, you want to stay with me till the end of this video, because I'm going to share very powerful strategies that will help you from today pass any job interview that you'll ever attend. So before I get into the points that I want to share, let me share with you something, because I think that's really where it all starts from. How do job seekers, or how do interviewees take job interviews? My observation has been that most people take interviews so casually. You find somebody walking into an interview just the way, I don't know, dressed, whichever way that they like. But let me tell you, interviews are very important conversations, very professional conversations, and they deserve to be treated with the respect that they actually deserve. So if you're going for a job interview, you need to know that this is a lifetime opportunity to actually convince the interviewer, to convince the panelist rather, that you're the best. And every time I say this, I repeat this over and over. Every time a company is doing an interview, they are actually looking to solve a problem that is in that company. So that job you're being interviewed for, they're not just looking for a human being, they're looking for a solution provider. So this tells you that interviews are just they're actually beyond Q&As. Sometimes we think interviews are just Q&As. They're literally they are your value auditions. You're going to, the way actors and actresses go for auditions. If you're stepping into an interview room, you're actually stepping into an audition room. Your one-time, lifetime opportunity. It's the stage where your energy, articulation, and presence needs to be seen like never before. So we agree that you need to treat interviews with the respect that they actually deserve. So let's get into it. 7 strategies that you must always never ever forget. You must always put into place every time you're going for a job interview. So number 1, before you walk into a job interview, or when you're walking into a job interview, please always exhibit the energy. Energy, very key. Now, let me give you an example. Somebody gets to an interview room, then they say, so can you tell us about yourself? Then you say, okay, thank you for that. My name is Nelly. I am a HR. I have done talent management, recruitment, and performance management. Then the second person says, they're asked, please tell us about yourself. They say, hi, and thank you for having me. My name is Nelly. I am a HR professional with over 8 years of experience cutting across different industries. In my 8 years, I have been doing recruitment, performance management. I've been helping companies have been helping companies to hire the right people at the right cost, at the right time, to ensure that business continuity, or to ensure that productivity is within the business to meet business objectives. I was just trying. I hope you see the difference between the two. So guys, energy is very, very important. Remember, every time you're going to an interview, you're being interviewed by human beings. And as human beings, we automatically pick energies. So if you step into an interview room and your energy is, oh, my name is Nelly, thank you for having me, you actually make like the panel wants to sleep. So always when you're going for a job interview, your tone, your enthusiasm, your confidence tells a lot about the person that you are. Because also remember, every time you're being evaluated, or when you're going for a job interview, when you're being interviewed, there's the aspect of personality that is being tested, either directly through direct questions or indirectly just through observation. So an interview tells a lot about the person that you are. So you want to ensure that you exhibit the right energy. Be enthusiastic about the job. Show that you really need the job. It's not being desperate. It's actually show that you need that job. Let your tone speak. Have the energy. Speak up. Don't always be the person who is speaking that the panelists will have to say, okay, what are you saying? Can you speak up? Can you no. Please don't let them be the ones looking for words out of your mouth. Second thing that you always need to consider when getting into an interview room, please position as a value add. I said, every time a job is posted, every time a vacancy falls out in an organization, they're looking for someone who will come to provide solution. They're looking for someone who will come and add value. So don't get into an interview room, or don't get into an interview session portraying desperation. The truth is, nobody wants to work with someone who's desperate. Imagine, you can be the most qualified, and that's why most qualified professionals get into interview rooms and they don't get a job. Have you ever had people come and say that I nailed this interview but I've not gotten it? Why? Because of how we carry out ourselves. So please ensure that when getting into an interview room, make sure that you position as a value add. How do you position as a value add? Tell the panelists what they want to hear. They are looking for someone to do the job. So you have to always show them that you're the person who can do that job in that environment and at that time. So you always need to actually demonstrate how you can solve their problem. It's actually a problem that they're looking for a solution provider. That person who's going to fill that vacancy. So you're going to go there positioning as a value add, not as a desperate job seeker. Yes, I understand that at the point of looking for a job, you're desperate. You probably have nothing. You've probably not paid your rent. You may have not even eaten or had breakfast before getting into that session. But show up. Nobody wants to associate with anyone who will become a liability. Show up as a value add. People want to see the value that you will add, not even what they'll add, not what they'll give you, but what you'll give them. So you have to position as a value add. The third one, which is very critical, is to polish your communication. Communication. Communication is very important. You know, most times people know how to do the job, but they don't know how to show that they can do that job. I don't know if you get that too. It's not just enough to know how to do it, but it's enough to be in a position where you can convince that you're the best person who can do it. And that's why most people who get the job sometimes can't even do the job, but they can speak up, which is okay, because at the end of the day, any skill can actually be learned. Any skill can be learned. So there's the work that you have to do in convincing. You have to convince the panelists that you're the best person who can do that job. You may not necessarily have 100% qualifications. You may not be the best person, but I promise you, you have to convince them that you're the person who can do that job by how you communicate. So articulation, body language, how you know, communication is through verbal and non-verbal. How do you communicate? So you can know your stuff, but if you cannot articulate it clearly and convincingly, imagine you lose the opportunity. So how can you polish your communication? There are a number of ways, of course, through practicing, through preparation over and over, answering those commonly asked interview questions, looking at yourself in the mirror just to correct where am I not speaking correct? I mean, where am I not speaking well? Am I having filter words? Am I stammering? And always just ensuring that you're prepared to also boost your confidence while you're speaking. The next thing you always want to ensure that you never forget when going for an interview is to polish your image. Mind your image. How do you look? How do you dress? They say that the first impression is the last impression, and we make first impressions without ever knowing. I mean, without ever speaking. I don't even need to know, I don't even need to hear you speak before I can make a decision about you. That's how we are human beings. We first make decisions on what we see even before we hear. And even you, I know you judge people just by seeing them. You get into social media, scroll an image and see a photo. You're already looking at how someone is dressed. You're already looking, not even social media, even just when you meet people, even in the office, you already know, this one, no, this one has no. So that's also how people judge you. And you're being interviewed by human beings. And of course, I know nowadays for virtual interviews, I know there are interviews that AI participates, but I know even if AI is there, there's always a human being behind it. So how you dress tells people so much about what you can do and who you are. So how do you dress? Of course, we always advise that dress in clothes that you're comfortable in. Don't dress in a new cloth, especially if you've never tried it out, because sometimes how you look, actually, appearance boosts confidence. So if you're not confident in the way you look, please, you're going to struggle. Don't dress in clothes that you're going to have to pull for it to reach your knees, for it to reach your shoulders. No, dress in and put on clothes that you're very comfortable in. Shoes should not be making too much noise. Watch, accessory, and all that should not be speaking so loud, but of course it's good because it highlights your look, but not too much. Colors, please look for very professional and very calm colors, not very shouting. Then on dressing, it's important that you understand the culture of the organization. It's going to help you. For example, if you're going for an interview in an IT firm, if you're going for an interview in an engineering firm, in those technical firms, it may not be the same for someone who's going for an interview in a financial sector, maybe let's say insurance firm. It may not be the same. Of course, it's not the same if you're going for an interview in a law firm. So you need to understand the culture, the industry to actually inform how you're going to dress. But dressing, even if it's makeup, ladies, how does your makeup look like? How does your eyebrows look like? How is your lips gonna look like? So you also don't want to put makeup that will be very distractive, that instead of people listening to what you're saying, they're actually wondering, hey, which type of spoon did you draw on your eyebrows or whatever. So you want to be sure that you look in a way that will make people comfortable and will also help you to boost your confidence. So image is everything. We are told that first impression is the last impression. Please, you want to be sure that you're dressed to kill for that interview, not to capture attention in a bad way, but actually in a way that will also help you to gain respect. The next thing you want to consider is to master your body language. I just mentioned that we speak even before we open our mouths or even before we utter a word. We speak through our body language. We speak on how through our facial expressions. So you want to ensure that nonverbal cues that you're going to express actually communicates. How do you express when you're listening to them? When you're listening to a panel, of course, when someone is speaking to you, there's a way you'll nod. How do you nod? Is it consistent to what they're saying, or you're nodding and someone can actually tell that this one is just here but actually not here with us? So you want to ensure that you're able to balance the nonverbal cues, you're able to balance your body language in terms of your sitting posture. You want to ensure that you're able to balance all that. It speaks about the level of confidence. If you're fidgeting, if you're fumbling, if you get there and you begin sweating, if you're moving your legs, the way you can be speaking and stamping your feet, playing with a pen, let's say eating the pen, those things that will actually tell somebody that you're not confident or that you're panicking. So you want to maintain a body language that will not reveal any sort of insecurity. You want to ensure that you speak, you actually you can even rehearse the body language. You can rehearse the body language so that when it is smiling, it needs to be calm, it needs to be authentic. And I'm not saying that you fake anything. Don't even fake a smile. I know there's a video that I'd done some time back where I said you cannot fake these facial expressions. Whether it's smiling, whether it's nodding, you cannot fake it. So you want to be in a position that you come out so authentic and you don't fake any facial expression or nonverbal cues. The next point, guys, is preparation. Prepare. Preparation actually beats experience, by the way. I've just told you that the best people are not the ones who always get the job, but the most prepared. Prepared in terms of how do they communicate, prepared in terms of how are they dressed, prepared in terms of they've understood the job, they've read about the company. Imagine every skill can be taught. It's just how are you able to convince the panelists that you're the best person at that time. You get the job and go and learn the rest at home. Go and learn the job. Go and learn the rest on the job. Go and learn the rest as you wait to report to the job, but convinced that you can actually do that job. So, guys, you want to prepare. You want to prepare. Prepare with those most commonly asked interview questions. Prepare to become authentic when you're speaking so they don't come out as memorized, by the way, because we can tell as a panelist or as the people who interview, we can actually tell when your answers are memorized. They want to come out authentically. They want to flow. It only comes with preparation. 100 hours of preparation builds confidence. Please prepare. Prepare. One thing over and over. Prepare with the mirror. See yourself. How do you articulate? Check how you articulate, how you talk. Dressing. Try outfits before. No, this one leaves my shoulder hanging. This one will not give me confidence. Ensure even the outfit that you are wearing before you've actually tried it. So interview conversations, life is a game of confidence, and interview is a highly, I would say, psychological. How do I put it? It has a lot of psychology in terms of human decision making. I don't know how to explain that, but it has a lot to do with judgment. By the way, there's a lot of biasness behind it, and sometimes of course, it comes even without the panelists knowing. We are human beings, so you want to appear the best always. So preparation. Get tutorials like this one, guys. Watch such videos. Prepare. So preparation actually builds confidence. Never assume your experience will speak for itself. It can't. You have to prepare, research, rehearse, and fully understand the job. Confidence actually comes from preparation, which makes you ready. So prepare about the company, prepare about the job, and prepare yourself in terms of how you look, in terms of how you speak, in terms of how you're going to ask questions. And when also preparing, make sure that you can make the interview as engaging as possible. So that's why I always tell people, when you get to that level where they tell you, please, do you have a question for us? Never fail to ask them a question. But that only comes from preparation. If you don't have a question, it will get to that time and you say, no, I don't have a question. But again, someone has been talking to you for the last 30 minutes and you don't have a question. It even sounds rude. So it's important, and it also shows interest. It shows you really want to know more. It shows that inquisitive nature is very good. So prepare, prepare, prepare. Read about, understand the job at your fingertips. And where does the interview questions come from, by the way? They come from the job description. So you want to understand that job description inside out. That's why I always tell candidates, if you're invited for an interview, and maybe for those jobs that were not advertised, please ask for the job description. That is actually it is everything that you need to prepare for that job. Please prepare. The last one is to always leave a lasting impression. So how do you leave a lasting impression? More or less like the summary of all the things that we have talked about. You want to be remembered. You want to come out as the best. You leave a lasting impression from the moment you entered that door. When somebody looks at you, the way you're dressed, they'll remember, oh, that lady, or that guy who came, the one who was dressed in a very nice suit. Oh, that lady. Oh, you remember the candidate number 2, the one who was speaking so well. So look for one thing. What is the one thing that is going to stand out? Whether it is the quality of the questions that you're going to ask, whether it is how you're going to engage the panelists, whether it is the confidence that you're going to exhibit, and the conversation with a lot of clarity, whether it is the question, so you can ask very unique questions. Maybe, for instance, if there was a recent media publishing about the company, show them that you know about that. You can say, I recently saw there was a media published, even maybe if it was a legal suit about your company, has it been resolved? I recently saw you published your financials for 2025 or 2024. Oh, I saw that your assets are decreasing in this area. Please look for something that will stand out. Don't just go asking these kawaida questions of, oh, so is this job a replacement? Okay, they're not bad. If you want to know if they're replacement, they're not bad. But look for something that will make you stand out. Those specific questions, like there was a legal suit about the company. I saw a former employee sued the company maybe 2 years ago. Was it solved? Was it resolved? I saw you recently appointed a new MD. Oh, I've seen your company is just opening a new branch, maybe in this, or your company has just entered into the East African market. Maybe just opened a new office in XYZ company. Those specific ones, they make you stand out. I saw you published your financials, but I noted maybe your assets has gone down by this and this. What has been happening? Or recently, I noted your share prices decreased. Is the company stable? Guys, you have to be smart. So please end that interview on a high note. In terms of I always love that one for quality of questions. It really makes you become a very powerful candidate. So you want to also have a lot of warmth, gratitude, tell them thank you. Yeah, you want to actually, people remember how you made them feel. Make people ask questions after that when you leave. Hey, what did that girl ask? What did that guy ask? Hey, make them, please look for a way that you're gonna get people to have a conversation after you've left the room. Thank you. So please, you have to always ensure that when you're getting into interviews, they're not just, don't just make them conversations as usual. They can't just be Q&As. And that is why as I was saying, you find that most qualified candidates don't actually get the jobs. Interviews are not about your experience. Well, the experience will get you to that room, because we love to see a CV that, when you're looking for 10 years of experience, we love to see that CV with 10 years of experience. Looking for bachelor's degrees, we want to see that CV with bachelor's degree. Looking for masters, we love that CV that has a master's. But if you can't defend that CV and can't defend that master's and that 10 years of experience, imagine someone with 5 years of experience will get that job, because they can convince the panelists that they can do the job. So I hope this will help you to make good decisions and prepare better for your next interviews. And guys, I offer interview coaching. If you're looking for an interview coach, my contact is always on the description of the videos. Of course, I'll leave it here. Please, very powerful 2 to 3 hours coaching sessions, virtual or physical, that will prepare you to pass any type of job interviews. Thank you so much for watching. I would love to know what are some of the topics that you'll want me to talk about in my next videos. Thank you for being part of this community. If you've not subscribed, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you have friends that you know can benefit from this content, make sure that you share with them. Thank you so much for watching. And I know you want to watch some of my videos on how to pass your interviews, on career coaching that are actually just coming up, or career development that are actually just coming after this video. So see you on the other side. Thank you for watching.